Hey guys, I'm out here in the garden and I thought it would be fun to make a really quick video on my surprise favorite crop of the season. So if you're new to the channel, I live in northern Michigan in a one-room cabin with no kitchen, bathroom, or running water. So I left New York in the summer of 2020 and now I'm living in the beautiful country, and the gardening zone is quite different here in Michigan than it was in New York. Even though I didn't really garden there, I had a little fire escape garden that past summer. But here in northern Michigan, the gardening season is very, very short. So we get our last frost. Well, it was just after June 1st this year, and we'll probably get our first frost. It's usually sometime in the first week or two of September. So hopefully we get a later one this year, but that's usually what it is. So the reason why I'm telling you this is because the winters are very, very long, and I really had the gardening bug. I was ready to get my garden planted, and when you have frost that comes in June, you really can't start too many plants before that time. However, one of the plants that I learned was a cold season crop and very frost hardy was snow peas. So I had never thought about growing peas. The only time I really can think of eating peas is if I'm having like a stir fry at a restaurant, and I always really enjoy it, but I never have bought them at the store alone. Maybe if it was in a prepackaged dish like a long time ago when I used to have some frozen food sometimes. So okay, so my point in telling you this is that I was really, really eager to get my garden started, and as soon as I found out that I could plant peas way in the beginning, I decided to plant a ton of them. So now also, I didn't know the difference between what kinds of peas there were. I don't eat a lot of canned food, but I like to have a little bit stocked up just in case I need it. And so I will have peas in the pantry, but I almost never use them. Anyway, so I planted a ton of peas, and that is a huge, weird, flying, spider-like bug. Snow peas were a crop that I was able to plant really quickly. I planted them, I think, in April, and I really had no idea how they grew, what to expect. I know that there are kind of like bush peas, or the kind that doesn't need trellising, but there's also some that get really tall. It says, you know, on the package between like 3 to 6 feet tall. So I didn't really know what I was getting into. The peas that I'm here next to right now happen to be a trellising pea. And I started with, you can't really see it anymore because it's grown so lusciously, but I started with maybe like a 12-inch trellis. And when you plant, or even your transplants, they're so small. If you haven't done a lot of gardening before, it's hard to imagine how big these things really are going to get. So 12 inches at the time seemed like kind of high, but it was really nothing near what I actually needed. So this thing has grown so tall, so wonderfully. It's actually come back down a little bit and it's drooping now. So now I know that next time I plant these, I'm going to need to start with like a 3-foot trellis at least. But anyway, so it was really fun to watch this grow and go through the different stages of development. So one thing about peas, if you're new to gardening and you don't know this, and maybe you are an expert, so they start out getting these little flowers. I don't know if you can see that. So they get these little beautiful blossoms. These ones are purple, sometimes they're white in different colors. And I was just looking at the vines and the flowers growing, and I thought to myself, where are the peas going to come from? And it might sound silly, but if you've never gardened, you just don't really know how these things work. So I thought, where are the peas going to develop on this plant? So what happens is the peas actually start to protrude from the inner layer of the flower blossom. So it's really cool to watch. The bees love it. And turns out these are what the fully grown pods look like. And one of my favorite things about the snow pea is that you can come out and pick them when they're really, really thin, and you can just bite right into them. You don't have to pop the peas out of the pod. So It's totally unobtrusive to eat. It's very enjoyable. I might give them a little rinse with the hose, or maybe not if I've already watered and everything's clean. You know, just to make sure maybe bugs are off of it or something. But so you can pick them when they're thin. You can also let them get plumper. And at first, when they got really, really plump, I thought, oh no, I let the peas go too long, and now they're not enjoyable to eat raw, in my opinion, when the skin is so thick, because it's very fibrous and hard to chew. You can just like pop them out and eat the peas that way, and that tastes good. But also what I discovered is that they're totally not going to waste. When they get really plump and thick, they're super delicious when you cook them. So the cooking actually kind of works down the fiber and makes it to where you don't have to take the peas out of the pod. So let me pick a couple for you. I can show you the different kinds of sizes. So let's see. This one is super plump. Most of them I don't let get that big. And so I definitely wouldn't just bite right into this, but I'll show you. You can just pop it open. And can you see a little pea in there? Pop it out. Come on. Let's see. And so it's tiny. They're super good that way. They're really sweet. It doesn't taste anything like a pea that you would get in a can. It's so delicious. So it was really fun in the beginning of the season to come out here, and I always knew that there would be peas available. They're super, super productive. I think I planted 3 different snow pea varieties. This one in particular took the longest to start producing, but once it started producing, it was really nonstop. Half of the peas that I planted over here, they are starting to die back because peas like cold weather. And we've been having, 80 something degree days, but we do have cold nights. So anyway, so some of the peas are dying, and I thought about, okay, it's time to tear this out and plant something new. But it just keeps producing as well, so I'm letting it go, and I just love the peas. So today I'm doing a little harvest, and I'm going to pick what I can. I've already, I have tons of bags of peas in the freezer right now, and I've packaged them in smaller portions so I can just go in and, grab a bag of peas and put it in a stir fry or whatever I want to make. I've been eating them raw for months, and so now I'm going to continue to harvest these, and I'll probably put them in the freezer as well. I will be doing some canning and fermenting of my crops, but from what I understand, peas aren't great fermented, and I just don't know about canning yet. And actually, I just ordered my canner today, so I'm very excited about that. So I won't be ready to can for a little while until it gets here. But okay, so I showed you one type of pea. That was a super plump one. Let me get a smaller one. So this, if you can see, is really skinny and thin. The little pea pods have not really developed yet. They're in there, but they're super tiny. So this size, I would just eat like that. It's so good. There's absolutely nothing, it's not like tangy, it's not spicy, it's really mostly, water that it's comprised of. So it's just kind of like a sweet, juicy vegetable. And I love it. So that was a super skinny one. I showed you a super plump one. This one is kind of in between. You can see it's definitely thicker, but it's not protruding with the seeds. Another interesting thing is, it's just so fascinating to learn about all of the way plants grow. Basically, the peas, the little peas inside of the pod, if you were to let that dry on the vine, I believe, I think that's the way to do it, is you let it dry. You never harvest it. Those little peas are what you plant if you want to grow pea plants. So I've actually seen or read about some people who didn't have seeds to plant as far as beans, and they're both legumes in the same family. So they actually took their can of beans and took the beans out and planted those, and they sprouted. So anyway, so this size, let's see if it's enjoyable to eat raw. It's getting right on the border of being enjoyable to eat. The skin is almost too thick. It's still okay, but if it went like one more day or two, you wouldn't want to eat it without cooking it first. So I am going to let these keep growing for a little while. I mean, I'm going to harvest these today, but I'll let the plant continue. Eventually, I will probably rip it out. And I've already got new pea seeds started inside that I'm going to be planting for my cold weather season. So I want to continuously have peas. I highly recommend if you're just getting into gardening. It's a super, super easy crop to grow. I didn't really have any pest issues with it, knock on wood. No diseases, just super plentiful and fun to watch grow. And they're so full of vitamins and nutrients, so it's very healthy. There's protein, vitamin C, and absolutely delicious. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you for coming along with me, and I will see you in the next one. Don't forget to like this video if you liked it, and to click subscribe and ding the bell so that you get notifications when I release a new video. Thanks so much, and see you soon.